how to grow and ascend, there's Nasa again, into the very presence of our Elohim. Verse 23 goes on and it says, "Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, in this way you shall bless the children of Israel. You shall say unto them." In the simplest form, it says that this declaration, command, and promise is to come from Aaron, meaning light bringer. The light brings forth the declaration, command, and promise of Yahuwah Elohim to Bnei Israel, the children of Israel. And we've considered that the root of Bnei, which is children, it also means sons, by the way, so we'll get back to the sons of Aaron in just a second. The root of Bnei is Bana, which means to establish and restore. So if we say that Bnei also means to restore as well as renew, then what is this? This declaration, command, and promise comes through, or comes from Yahuwah through the light giver, and the restoration, the redemption of Elohim. What do we see in this? That through Yeshua, we are brought into the presence of the light. We are restored. We are renewed. We've considered, okay, Yisrael means Elohim prevails, as well as wrestling with Elohim. So in Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel, we're going to consider one who has been restored from wrestling with Elohim to one who has established that Elohim prevails. Israel means both of these things. Bnei means both of these things. And it's our choice. I can continue to wrestle with my Elohim, saying, I am God. Fortunately, there is no word for God in Hebrew. Say that Elohim means much more than simply the idea of a deity. We've talked about Elohim, that Elohim means mighty one. It means judge. It means ruler. From its root, Ayil, we get ideas of restoration, redemption, deliverance, as well as rest. So in Elohim, what we see is much more, if I say, what does God mean? And people are going to say, well, something that we pray to, but when I say Elohim, now I understand that he is my mighty judge that has the authority to bring me redemption and rest. Has the authority, but it's my choice that affects that authority. Now, Torah also tells us that we are all Elohim. What does that mean? We're all gods? No. We, being in the image of Elohim, have the authority to make judgments. We have the authority to forgive. We have the authority to judge a situation and make the right choice. But Yahuwah Elohim is El Shaddai. He is the Elohim, the Almighty Elohim. He is El Elyon. He is the Elohim Most High. There is none other than Yahuwah Elohim. So when he says, I am Yahuwah Elohim, like we talked about last week, I am the one that brings you out of Egypt. I am the one that brings you out of bondage. You shall have no Elohim before me. We understand that in Elohim has a whole lot more relevance to us than simply trying to figure out exactly what God means. So it's very important that we wrestle with these things that Elohim means, or we believe and receive Yeshua, his restoration, his redemption, his deliverance from death, the wages of sin, and we are restored in Elohim. So, it is to this person that the light brings forth this declaration, command, and promise. And it is this that opens the way to restoration and renewal. This comes from the heart of Yahuwah Elohim. In Amor, it means something spoken from the heart. Again, within Torah, we find this declaration, we find this promise, we find the love that he has for us. And then we begin the actual blessing part in verse 24. It says, Yahuwah bless you and keep you. The word Yavarechacha means more than simply to bless. It also means to adore, to praise, and to salute. So we say, may Yahuwah adore you, praise you, salute you. We can consider this to be the mind of Elohim when we begin to draw near him through his word, seeking to know him and bond with him. You know, my grandchildren are little savages, they're little terrorists. But I love them dearly, especially when they come up to me with their arms outstretched and they papa, papa, papa. They come up to me and they grab my leg. What can you do other than pick them up and squeeze on them and kiss on them and love on them? And this is the same way. When we are making an effort to move towards our Elohim and build a relationship, imagine what the feeling is, because that's why we were created, is to have communion with him, to have fellowship with him. So, bless means to adore, to praise and salute. We consider this to be the mind of Yahuwah Elohim when we begin to draw near him through his word, seeking to know him and bond with him. In this he keeps us. The word here is vayishmarecha, which aside from meaning to keep, means to guard, to listen to protect, as well as to restore, redeem, and deliver. This is the beginning of wisdom, in that we seek to know and reverence Yahuwah Elohim by seeking knowledge about him in his word, and in doing so we become precious to him, receiving his adoration as a treasure, as his treasure, and praise as his child. We are placed under his protection. He listens to us and restores us, redeems us, and delivers us from the grasp of the evil one. All right. The second part of this Birkat Kohanim is Yahuwah make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The first word of this verse is Yaor, that means to be or to become light. It also means to be illuminated. We also take into consideration that his word is light, and that his word is Yeshua, who is the light of life. This comes from the face, panav, which also means in the presence of or in the direction of. This comes from Yahuwah, whose name means, as we've said, existence in everything that there is, was, and will be today, yesterday, and tomorrow. What then is this phrase telling us? That through his word we are brought into his presence, and it is through his word that we are illuminated by the light of life, who is and was Yeshua. In this he is gracious to us in all things at all times. Okay? John went on to say that he was the light of men, the darkness didn't comprehend it, but he also went on to say that those who would believe and receive on him would be given the authority to be called the children of Elohim. We see that accepting, believing, receiving Yeshua, his restoration, redemption, deliverance, we become his children. Okay? The word gracious is vichonega, which also means to show favor, but it also means to pity, which gives us an impression of undeserved favor, grace. This word also means to be shown consideration, fairness, and kindness. So in these words, we consider the words of Yeshua to Nicodemus in John 3:16 through 17. You get a better understanding of what Yeshua was saying. For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For Elohim sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be restored, redeemed, and delivered from destruction. Okay? So we see a lot in this Yahuwah make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. It's all part of our building that relationship and continuing to grow, not just from the knowledge, but now to build the wisdom to lead us to understand why this relationship is so precious to us. final verse of this particular blessing, Yahweh lift his countenance upon you, and give you peace. The interesting thing about this verse is the word used for countenance is again panav, that means face. This would mean that Yahweh Elohim is in a sense looking up at us. Consider a child being carried in the arms of a parent. That child sees the parent, and the parent sees the child face to face. Moses had a relationship with Elohim that was face to face. This is the type of relationship that we can have. The type of relationship that we can have is that the same way that Elohim walked through the garden in the breeze of the day to communicate and speak with Adam, not just the guy Adam, but Adam means humankind, that we can have that same relationship, that he fellowships with us, he speaks to us, we can hear him, and we speak to him face to face, in his presence and him in our presence, is basically what that means. The word that gives this idea meaning is the word yisa, which means not only to lift, but also to carry, to forgive, to support, to receive, to exalt. If we will backtrack and consider our stages of growth, then we can see the relevance and the beauty of this phrase. We backtrack, we put everything that we've considered together. This declaration, command, and promise is being spoken to one who is established in spiritual exile, who is in a state of spiritual poverty, being at the farthest point away from Yahweh Elohim. Restoration, redemption, and deliverance is found in the word of Yahweh Elohim, who is Yeshua, the living Torah. In Yeshua, one is restored from wrestling with Elohim to being established that Elohim prevails. This is the beginning of wisdom, in that one seeks to know and reverence Yahweh Elohim by seeking knowledge about him in his word, and in doing so becomes precious to him, receiving his adoration as his treasure and praise as his child. We are placed under his protection. He listens to us. He restores us. He redeems us. He delivers us from the grasp of the evil one. Through his word, we are brought into his presence. And it is through his word that we are illuminated by the light of life, who was and is Yeshua. In this, he is gracious to us. All of this brings us face to face with our Elohim, who forgives us past, present, and future. And all that we have done, all that we will do, or all that we do and all that we will do, and he forgives us in the name of Yeshua, if we believe and receive him and strive to walk in the path that he illuminates. This light is found in the declaration, command, and promises found in the heart of Yahweh, who is his Lord. We see a lot going on in these blessings. Now, we haven't talked about the last part of this, which is peace, and we'll talk about peace in just a second. But we're going to touch on basically the last verse of the Birkat Kohanim. It's beyond the blessing part, but it says in verse 27, "So shall they put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them." In the very simplest terms, this verse sums up the very body of the blessing. To be established that Yahweh Elohim prevails in our lives is to keep his Torah. And as such, we are blessed by his name covering us, bringing us restoration, redemption, and delivering us from the wage of sin, which is death. We are covered by the name of Yeshua, which means Yahweh has brought restoration, redemption, deliverance, and in his name we are blessed. Our relationship with Yahweh Elohim is a journey. And it is through Yeshua that we are led into his presence and receive the blessings that come from yoking ourselves to him through his word. We learn about our Elohim in his word. We become wise in Yahweh Elohim through his word. And in doing so, we gain a peace beyond understanding by, in, and through his word. In this we understand now the balance of verse 26 that says, "And bring you peace." Shalom. Shalom is a word that means so much more than just peace. It means wholeness, soundness, safety, good health, tranquility, contentment, friendship, relationship. In the contents of this verse, it means to have a friendship and a relationship with Yahweh Elohim, and that all of these other things are added to us. Yeshua said what? Seek first the kingdom, the reign of Elohim, and everything else will be added to you. We recite this blessing on special occasions and from time to time at the end of our studies. Next time this blessing is spoken over you, consider the study and the things that are being given to you in this blessing. As we mentioned at the beginning of this study, the rabbis have concluded that this blessing was also a form of prayer. So it is a good study to read over and perhaps structure a prayer. Structure your communication, not just a prayer, but structure that communication, that special time that you set aside around the various meanings of this blessing. So hopefully this will give us a little bit broader meaning as what it is when somebody stands up there and speaks this blessing. That it means a lot more than simply may Yahweh bless you and keep you. Yahweh lift his countenance to you and be gracious to you, and may Yahweh shine his light upon you and bring you peace. That there's a whole lot more in our relationship with Elohim, and that our relationship is based on as much as our speaking this blessing in the direction of Yahweh, saying, how can I bless you and keep you, Yahweh Elohim? How can I lift my face into your presence and be gracious to you? We cannot be gracious to our Elohim. We can't show him undeserved favor because he deserves everything. But what can I do to better serve you? I say again, what can I do, my Elohim, to shine my light in your direction? Or to shine my light where you need my light to go? And how can I enjoy this peace and this relationship and this friendship that you have extended to me through your word, through Yeshua? How can I better my relationship with you? So it's a two-way street, just like everything in Torah. So now we come to the question part. Any questions? Not all at once. Well, I suppose we've achieved prudence then.